I want to highlight an argument that I encounter quite a lot these days that claims to be inclusive but is actually an act of extreme ableism. A person will say, people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities cannot do, and that's met with people saying, you have low expectations, you're not letting everyone have a chance, the reason they cannot do it is because of people like you not believing in them, and so on. So recently I've met this when I've said things like, people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities cannot learn phonics or cannot learn to read. People with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities cannot recognise photographs of themselves. And this is misunderstood as me standing in the way of people's progress, when actually it's a statement of fact. The profound of profound intellectual disability indicates a level of impairment that renders those things impossible. So a person with a profound intellectual impairment cannot learn phonics, cannot learn to read, cannot recognise themselves in photographs. If they could, they would not have a profound intellectual impairment, they would have a severe intellectual impairment. But of course, this closely meets two other key considerations, which are there people with profound intellectual impairments who can become people with severe intellectual impairments, and are there people labelled as having profound intellectual and multiple impairments who actually have severe intellectual impairments? And the answer to both is a big yes. And the size of that yes makes people leap the next point of being rational and jump to, so we should believe that everyone can. Because if we believe that everyone is capable, if we always assume capacity, then we do not run the risk of someone who might be able to transition from profound intellectual disability to severe intellectual disability being wrongly deemed as having, as not being capable, and we won't miss the person who has been deemed as having a profound intellectual disability but who actually has a severe intellectual disability. And that's true. The all narrative and the everyone can narrative serve to protect those groups. But what was missed in that leap? And more importantly, who was missed? And this is where the split happens. Do you believe that people with profound intellectual impairments, i.e. people who do not have intellectual capacity and will never develop intellectual capacity, exist? It's a yes-no question. And perhaps some people believe no, they don't exist. And in fact, the idea of their presence is to be attributed to narratives that lack aspiration for them. But I'm here to state very loudly and clearly that they do exist and that their lives are valid and valuable regardless of their capacity to progress intellectually. To deny the existence of any group is an act of extreme prejudice, and to deny the existence of people with profound intellectual disabilities is an act of extreme ableism. Now, I'm sure the people who say all and everyone can have no intention to be ableist. Their concern lies with the people who might have been missed. But my concern lies with those denied by these narratives, people with profound intellectual and multiple disabilities, because they are the most vulnerable members of our population, the most at risk of being marginalised, and recognising them for who they are and what they are is a part of celebrating their presence and belonging in society. It doesn't need to be a fight between the two positions. All that's required is a little nuance. Rather than saying all, we can say some, we can even say many. Rather than saying everyone can, we can say some people can, many people can. We can even say more people than you might think can. But the minute we say all, we deny the existence and validity of difference. We deny those who live lives without intellectual capacity, and we demean the value of those lives. Truly great inclusive provision meets people not with assumptions but with curiosity and acceptance, recognising the belonging of everyone within our communities.